All right. So we are live. I think we'll wait for the questions for a minute or two. It's just to want to give our attendees a chance to hop on here. But this is the CBLDF webinar, Remote Retailing, Connecting with Your Customer Online. And we've got some fantastic panelists here to talk to you about that. I am going to just set this up so we're streaming on our Facebook page, and then we're going to go ahead and get this started. All right. And while I am doing this, why don't we go ahead and do intros. I am Sienna Fallon. I'm the Community Development Manager for the CBLDF. And I'm going to be the moderator today. And if we want to go down the line, Adam, if you want to start and give yourself a quick introduction.
Sure. My name is Adam Freeman, and yes, I spell it that way. I own and operate a marketing and sales company called Prana Direct Market Solutions that focuses on the direct market, on comic book retail stores and those that want to communicate with them.
Awesome. Jen, you want to follow them up?
Sure. I'm Jen King, owner of Space Cadets Collection and co-owner of CBS and the Comic Book Shopping Network.
Awesome. And then Morgan.
Hey, I'm Morgan Perry. I'm the retail sales coordinator for Boom Studios. I help out all of the retail partners around the world getting the information about Boom Books out there and just, helping you guys out.
Awesome. All right, we are live. Perfect. So I guess just how's everyone holding up? Is everyone doing okay before we jump into questions?
It's interesting because just 3 hours ago, I think we got the notification from the county judge that we're shelter in place starting at midnight tonight. So we were kind of waiting for that to happen. So it was an interesting thing to have it come down at lunchtime.
Wow. Yeah.
It's been interesting because I'm here in LA. So we've had the shelter in place order since March 20th. That was a fun way to spend my birthday. Yeah, so it's been an interesting time. Like, obviously, Boom's working remote and trying to help everybody out, even if we can't be in the office. So
yeah,
it's been a lot of interesting times, a lot of learning how to use the web.
Yep, exactly. All of which we're going to cover here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got back from LA just a little over 2 weeks ago, and we, as a family, have been sheltering in place since then. And the official order, I think, came in a few days after that. So it's a Brooklyn apartment with an entire family in it, and they have taken this opportunity to go outside and breathe in some fresh air. So.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So this webinar, we're kind of talking about remote retailing. How can you pivot your business to serve your community when you can't get in your store, when you have to do it remotely? So also, I just want to point out to our attendees that there is a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. So if you have questions for us, feel free to submit the questions over there, and I'll save the last 5 or 10 minutes of the webinar to answer those. So, but first off, I wanted to start off and ask, so this is for everyone. What messaging do you think stores should be sending out to their customers throughout the crisis? Like, every company anyone has ever interacted with is sending out messages to their customers about how they're dealing with the COVID crisis and how they're responding. What messaging do you think comic book retailers should be sending to their customers? And whoever wants to start.
Well, I'll just speak up for John since he can't be here today. I just wanted to give him a mad respect about his post on his store's page. I think it was yesterday, where he publicly said that he was going to zero salary, and all the money that the store was making in any way was going to keep his employees employed. So he's the dude.
That is great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's John Dudas. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today because he is being a superhero and firefighting, and we're going to try and get him back on a webinar soon. Adam, do you have
We
any?
all were very lucky that Morgan was able to be here today and is not out firefighting, because we knew that was always
It
an
was a
option.
close call. I knew
No,
that
it was. Yeah.
scheduling wise, we might
If
have
any
to.
sort of crime or anything happens and she ducks out, just know that that's should probably.
She'd have to
I think that
fight in her rollerblades.
I think that the question really right now, and I knew we were going to talk about this. I looked up a quote from I can't believe I'm having to say this guy's name out loud. Thich Nhat Hanh was talking about crowded refugee boats in Taiwan. And he was talking about how when these crowded boats would meet up with pirates or storms, if the entire boat was in chaos and panic, everything was lost. But if a single person was calm, everyone was able to find their calm. And I think that we as community leaders, and that's really who we are. I mean, what we're offering in our shops is community. We're offering the place to congregate and a place to be and a place to interact with somebody who is not just ordering something from your phone. You are in like a de facto leader of that community, and I think you get the opportunity to be a place of calm and to be a shelter in the storm around them that is pushing on panic, because panic has become profitable for cable news and Twitter and so on. So you get the opportunity to be that for your customers, and I think that is crucial. I would also talk about how this is changing your company. How are you addressing this? How are you, what are the safety measures that you as a company are taking? Because you're sending physical items, you're both receiving physical items from other places and sending physical items out. And while we're lucky that most of you are going to be selling paper and cardboard, and this virus only lasts 24 hours on paper and cardboard, you're also selling that paper and cardboard inside of plastic bags, and it can live for days. So how are you treating those things? So you get an opportunity to both be clear and to be calm, but also to be very specific about how you are taking this seriously, and that the shelter-in-place orders are being taken seriously by you as a leader. And I think that that's crucial for all of you.
Morgan, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, just echoing off of what Adam's been saying, like I've been watching a lot of retailer posts on their Facebook page and just seeing what updates they have. And it's been great to see like your people still presenting their sense of community, even though they are going under adjustments where they're switching to like Twitch streaming for gaming events and doing, fun things while they're in shelter in place, whether it's employees doing fun videos to kind of keep a sense of normalcy going on in their store and to kind of keep their customers happy and calm, like Adam was saying, being calm. And then, yeah, just seeing all the safety procedures that people have been doing, because I know that that's a huge concern from a customer perspective. And, just the different services that they're offering, like as these mandates are being passed down from state to state to state, it's great to see that happening right now.
Jen, what's the message you've been trying to send out to your customers of Space Cadets?
Really that we're going to be here for them no matter the form. So we've had in place for a little while, we've been telling our customers that when the order comes down to be sheltered in place, that they should just already have Facebook notifications turned on, and we'll try to have programming going on most of the day so that they can still feel connected. We've been doing for a little over a week, we've been doing big blocks of just regular trivia on there just for fun.
Oh, that's fine.
We wanted to make sure they understood that we weren't just here to collect money from them, but we really do see them as our friends. So, and we miss them when we don't get to see their faces. So this gives us a connectivity with them at least.
Yeah. So you kind of piggybacking off of that kind of leads right into my next question. What tools and strategies can retailers use to get their message to their customers right now? Like you said, your customers aren't coming in, so you made the great note to tell them to put their notifications on Facebook. So they are receiving your message. What are some other ways that retailers can make sure they're staying in contact with their customers?
For us, we actually spent this entire week actually calling all of our box holders especially when we heard the news coming down from Diamond that they were going to stop sending new books after this week. We want to make sure everybody knew that we were aware of that, and we used that opportunity to check on them and make sure that everyone was okay and see if they needed anything, and to just kind of like really have a touch base with them, because we don't get to see some of them. Some of them, like some of our customers actually work on oil rigs, etc. So it's nice to be able to see how they are, where they are. And then we spent this week also making sure all of our web page stuff works properly, and that our Instagram connects with all the rest of the things properly, so that we make sure that no matter how anyone follows us, that they actually get the news.
We're seeing some in the chat, a lot of people talking about how they're doing this. I think it's really, it's remarkable to watch how Zoom, like we're using Zoom now. I was just talking about how my 5-year-old yesterday was playing Minecraft with another 5-year-old in Brooklyn, and they were watching each other on Zoom while playing in the same server. We're more and more comfortable with these tools, and these tools are, as a result of this, going to become a regular part of our lives. I personally work from home, all the time, but now I'm seeing so many other people being a lot more comfortable with that. It is fun watching people walk around in the background, while you're talking to somebody, which is part of why I'm facing a blank wall. But I think we get this opportunity. Your stores, we've talked a bit, we talked earlier about community. Your stores, you're constantly creating events to bring people in. Well, those events are about engaging with your customer. They're not just about physically being able to touch them. So those events can carry over. You can continue to create watch parties. You can continue to have gaming. You can continue to have RPGs. And you as a store can sponsor and organize those things and make them available in a way that Sienna has made this available, right? So we get the opportunity as groups to put these things together, and using social media, use every platform available, because everyone does use different platforms. I don't know how many of your customers you're going to get through LinkedIn, but there's no reason to not at least begin to play with that platform, because you're gonna have some time.
Yeah. Morgan, do you have any suggestions on how retailers can connect with their customers right now and get their message out?
For sure, yeah. I mean, everything that Jen and Adam have said have been great, and I see that like in the chat as well that Joe Murray was talking about how he set up a special Facebook group for his customers. And I just want to give a shout out to Aton of Cape and Cowl, who has the Never Ending Book Club going on right now. I think that's a fantastic idea, because not only was it just for his customers, it's for the entire comics community, and I think that that's something that we really need right now, is just sharing all of those different things. Like, we're sharing information about ourselves, and the shop is sharing information with us. So yeah, I mean, utilizing social, we're finding people using social in new ways. They're figuring out the functionalities that they weren't necessarily using before for their stores, making sure that things are auto posting and connecting to all the different things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is kind of for you, Morgan, too. How can retailers work with, we've been talking about how stores can connect with their customers. How can stores work with publishers and creators to kind of expand their reach right now?
So one of the things that we did at Boom Studios is we did the hashtag #BoosterLCS map on Google, which is a list of shops that started off as just a normal list of the Boom Guarantee retailers, and then we added to it and then added the Safe Services star to any location that was offering curbside, mail order delivery, local delivery, shipping, anything like that. They got the star so that if they were in their area, that people could find them. Additionally, that was built off of a thread that I had started on Twitter, where it was, I had asked the Boom Guarantee to start off with to let me know if they were offering those services at that time when we found out that Boom was going to go remote. And I've just been updating that thread there, and I have retailers emailing me, messaging me, messaging our contact email through the website, messaging other coworkers at Boom, messaging creators, things like that, letting them know what they are doing. And I think creators stepping up and creating those lists too, asking for which retailers are there and signal boosting them. Like, the fact that we've seen so many high tier creators jumping in and like putting the bat signal out more or less, and having people and spotlighting shops in a way that is just kind of like awe-inspiring, to be honest. Like, it's really cool. We've been doing that. I think staying in constant contact on retailer boards as well with publishers and asking questions like, hey guys, what are you doing? This news is coming out. Hope to hear a response from you, that kind of stuff. Like, we're kind of getting this, and we're working with this information as it rapid fire goes out as well. So yeah, communication is key. So it's just been staying in constant contact.
Sure. Jen, do you have a plan to kind of reach out to publishers or creators to kind of spread the word out about what your shop's doing going forward?
Well, very early on last week, I believe, and I need sleep because I don't know when I did it actually, but when Diamond said that they were going to be shipping books for the next little while, I thought we needed to have a place for everyone to talk about, like, are there independent people out there that have books that can get them to our shop so we can have something on the rack or something to just sell through the mail or something while that hiccup happens. So I tried to put everybody in a room to try to brainstorm about things. So hopefully that's being helpful to people.
Adam, do you have any suggestions?
I mean, yes, actually. So I'm lucky that I get to work with a number of publishers, and they all are both have platforms that allow you to interact with other fans and customers, which is good. I mean, I think anything that gets your name talked about and shows that your love of this product. So, Bad Idea, who I do a lot of work with, has their fan group. Aftershock has a lot of their fan group. Nearly everybody I work with has some sort of fan interaction. So getting involved there is really wonderful, and talking about how you are going to bring that forward. And honestly, like, we all have this huge opportunity, both publishers and retailers, and this motorcycle going past, I don't know if you can hear it, to talk about backlist in a way that we haven't in a long time, right? So, I mean, the thing about our industry is we're constant churn. We're constantly talking about what's new. And it's often frustrating that there will be a hit, or a book that was incredible that just did not get the attention that it needed. And I think it's an opportunity for us to all push that forward, because you have it in your shop, Jen, right? We get the opportunity to help you move this thing that has been sitting there.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have to think a lot about distribution models. We're going to have to think a lot about how we're going to diversify how we get our product. And we can do that now. I mean, we can see that places like Ingram are allowing you to sell, my 5-year-old just walked in, allowing you to sell their product, and they will ship it to the customer for you. We're seeing other gaming publishers are also doing this. There are interactions that you can start creating those lines directly with those publishers, and especially on the book side, that allow you to start building those up. Hi, buddy. How are you? Yep. You should see he's got little ears on. Anyway, okay, sure. Come on, let's go. Everybody, say hi.
Yeah.
All right,
Hi there.
Hey.
Yes. So as you please reach out to publishers. Not everybody has somebody as good as Morgan. In fact, there really is only one publisher that has somebody as good as Morgan. But there are many. Every publisher has someone that can help you during this time, and we want to help you during this time.
Yeah.
That is the key thing to remember, is that there really is no comics industry in the U.S. without comic shops. You guys are it, and we need you to survive, and we need you to get through this. So please do reach out, bring us ideas, bring us the crazy things that then we can tell you why exactly we tried that 5 years ago and it didn't work. But hey, let's try it again. We're all open to it, as long as we can do it from our dining room.
Yes.
This is something Adam brought up that we should talk about, and he kind of talked about it a little bit. What practices can stores take to protect the health of their customers and staff during this period? Like, Jen, what are you doing at Space Cadets to ensure that your customers are getting their comics in a safe way?
So we have always had kind of a slow churn groups. We don't have any large groups in our store ever, really. So it allows us to go back and sanitize anything that gets touched. In all of our common areas, we have our giant cans of Lysol that we take care of all that with. So we're being really careful about it. And of course, after today, that won't be a consideration anymore. But we've been making sure that everyone understands how to be safe in what they touch.
Adam, since you brought this up, did you have any tips for retailers?
Sure. Mostly I'd like to just I'm not a doctor. I do not play one on TV. I'm not even a yoga teacher, right? I am, however, I have, however, been following this as closely as a layman really can. And that being said, a lot of the things that we sell could be problematic. And I'll be honest, like I've struggled with the ethical question of even encouraging that many of you to stay open for shipping out, because it could, there is an issue with this virus spreading. The reason that we have these shelter at home places is not because we wanted to kill the economy. It's because we need to stop the spread of this virus. So we do need to take this very seriously. Again, as community leaders, we need to be seen taking this seriously. As I said, this virus does not seem to last very long on paper and cardboard. That's wonderful. It does seem to last quite a while on plastics, but it's also a bit of a wimp, right? You can sanitize nearly everything. My concerns are honestly a couple fold. You're going to be, as I know many store owners who have shelter in places that are still, the store owner themselves is going in and working every day. They're pulling product, they're shipping it out, they're keeping their business alive. I'm all for that. The challenge, I think, is how are you treating that and how are you communicating to your customers how you're treating that? Maybe you should be giving them best practices. When you get this at home, perhaps sequester it for a day or 3 or 4. When you're taking plastics out, sanitize it. That's absolutely within the realm of doable for everybody. When you, as a store owner or your staff, are bringing in a collection right now, I know this is going to be really super tempting right now, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, because it's going to be a buyer's market of all these collectibles that are going to start coming to you. Be careful, because these comics are all covered in plastics, and for the most part, you're dealing with a stranger. And I want you healthy. I want your communities healthy. I want you around a long time so that we can all be building our careers together. But it's comics is just not worth that health. So if you cannot feel safe in dealing with the plastics that are around this books, if you cannot feel safe about making sure that what you're dealing with is sanitized, factor in what it's going to take. So all I'm saying is let's be careful, let's be mindful, and as consumers and as retailers. Does that make sense? Because I don't want to be the killjoy on all of this. I want you all making money and keeping your shops alive and keeping your families fed. But there's a reason that my family has been stuck in this apartment for 2 weeks. And if I could maybe slow this down enough so we could eventually go out, that would be great.
I think it's a fair point to bring up when we're talking about what kind of messaging should stores be sending to their customers. I think that's an important part to add to what we've already talked about, like
right.
What they're doing to keep their customers in mind and keep them safe. Morgan, did you have anything to add, or did we kind of cover everything?
I mean, that covers a lot. I'm going to echo Adam of you can never be too cautious. So if you think you're being too cautious, you're not. You're probably on the right side of normal in regards to the situation. So even with the shelter in place orders, find out what that means, because there are some shops now, at least in California, that are being shut down completely in terms of mail order. And the owners can't be in the locations now fulfilling those orders because it is considered unsafe and a detriment to public health. So make sure that you are keeping up to date on what your orders mean, especially when your governors are dropping them and giving addendums to them as well. So yeah, and sanitize everything. I've seen retailers who've set up hand washing stations, hand sanitizer stations all over their stores, and different parts of their stores have opened their employee only restrooms to be hand washing stations for customers if they're still open. All of that is fantastic and perfect, and you should keep doing that and fight as long as you can, but be safe about it. You have a sword, but you also have a shield.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great line. We got to brand that, get that out there. No, I think that's all important to think about. But
Morgan does bring up an excellent point. I'm sorry to jump in.
No,
Morgan
go
does
for
bring
it.
up an excellent point, which is this is an active, continuing thing. So you do need to be informed. Don't get overwhelmed by the panic, but do be informed every day about what's going on, and think about the progress. Because I live in New York, and New York is probably at this point about as far along as anybody has gotten. Now there's still businesses open. We still go to the grocery. We're still very careful. But there is a progress to how these things are going, and wherever you are on this next step, chances are good your community is going to go to the step beyond that as well. So what are you going to do when that happens? What's going to happen when you can no longer go into your store? How are you going to spend your day? What's going to happen when you can no longer bring your staff into your store? How are you going to spend it? How are you going to handle them? Are you going to have to lay them off? Think about these things now so that when this happens, you are not in sort of a spiral of depression and anxiety, really, because we want you thinking clearly during those periods.
So you can be prepared.
Exactly.
All right, well, I want to kind of pivot into the sales aspect of this remote retailing side. So Jen, I know you do some online selling. I want to talk about what online platforms are available for retailers who are looking for markets to sell their product. I know you use eBay and Amazon. How have those been working out for you?
I've had a fallback position to get away from Amazon for a little while. As they've increased their fees, it just isn't monetarily profitable to sell on that platform anymore for me.
Sure.
So mostly eBay. And of course, live Facebook has been a real godsend. We've been doing that for almost 2 years now, and that's been a wonderful way to connect to our customers. So they can be doing shopping and folding laundry at their house, as it turns out. So they like that pretty much.
Yeah.
And I've actually quarantined shipping supplies, a large amount of product, and everything else I need at my house for a while. So it's already there and in place in case I get to where I'm just at the house only. So
that's good thinking ahead. Do you have any tips for any retailer who hasn't started on eBay who might be looking now to start listing?
It's a bit of a slog trying to list things, but if you've never done eBay before, it is really a good marketplace to put lots of product, not just comic books, but all the other things that you've got, the toys and things. Just be careful about making sure you give accurate weights and dimensions, because you don't want to be undercharging or overcharging for those things. And you can actually do that, most of those things from home, because you can also print out labels from Indicia, and you can have the U.S. Postal Service pick up those packages from your porch, so you don't have any exposure to the outside world.
That's great. Adam, do you know of any platforms that retailers can use to sell their product online?
Excuse me while I put on my Comic Hub hat. I did work full time for Comic Hub a little over a year, and I am still an equity holder in that company. And I can tell you that the reason I got involved was I saw some solutions for retailers that are many of them are coming on in droves at the moment. Comic Hub is a fantastic platform for comic book retailers. As Morgan and Boom have found out, it's a fantastic platform for publishers who are promoting their books. Put simply, it is everything that you as a retailer need. Anytime you use your computer that's not, social media, is probably on Comic Hub. It will manage your website. It will manage your ordering. It will manage your subscriptions. It gives you marketing that will push marketing to your consumers based on their previous purchases. It will put your entire inventory live on your website and continually update it so that you are selling all of the inventory you have in your home on your website. It allows your customers to manage their subscriptions from an app on their couch because they are sheltered in place. It really is an all-in-one solution for retailers. And they are running some really wonderful promotions right now, both for Comics Pro members and for CBLDF members.
I was just about to bring that up.
And you should be a Comics Pro and or CBLDF member, especially a CBLDF member. Why aren't you? What do you hate? Freedom? So yes, it is an absolutely spectacular solution. Go to comicspro.com and tap on the retailer tab, and you can learn more about getting yourself set up. And I will say that we just heard from a retailer, I think last week, on the final order cutoff page on Facebook, which if you're not on that, you should be, that was saying, was giving a shout out to Stu that he went to bed. He went to bed one night as a Comic Suite user. He woke up the next morning. His entire inventory, his entire sales history was on Comic Hub. He immediately was able to pivot full-time to Comic Hub. So, all right, there you go. That's the whole commercial. You're
No,
welcome, Stu.
it's an important thing to talk about. Yeah, CBLDF retailer members, you can get a free install, and they're offering discounted monthly fees. So now would be a good time if you're looking for an e-commerce site. Morgan, can you talk a little bit about your experience with Comic Hub? Boom used it a little bit for marketing purposes, or whatever you can talk about, obviously.
So we actually, we worked with Adam and Stu at the time to promote Once and Future through Comic Hub. So what's really cool on the publisher side is that all the tools that are available to retailers in terms of like marketing direct to your customers through email and being able to like pinpoint those customers that are going to buy a specific book, all in Comic Hub, that's available to publishers as well. So what I can do as your retail sales coordinator is I can write a message to the retailers being like, hey guys, we got this fantastic new book coming out, Once and Future. Here's all the sales info that you got to know. And then I can also write a message to your customers if you just want to like point and click and send it out, or if you want to adjust it based on your own language, or give yourself somewhere to start. If you're like, oh, I really don't know this book very well, but Morgan's got a great pitch for it and I really like it, so I want to use that. Or if you're like, this wording doesn't really work for me, this is more my language, go for it. So that's how we've been using it. And then there are also really awesome sell-through tools for us that we can use as a publisher to see how the books are doing for your shops. And then it gives us the ability to focus, laser focus on those titles that maybe we need to be pushing more to customers and being like, go to Comic Hub, find a shop near you. They've still got copies available on the shelf of Once and Future or Something's Killing the Children, things like that. So it's been a fantastic tool for us. And Stu was nice enough to let me break some of the tools to make improvements. So that's been one of the coolest things, having come from knowing all the different POS systems, having worked on Comic Sweep, having worked on Mobi. Comic Hub is like where it's at. I wish I had it when I was a retail person. Like I mean, I really do.
Did you hear that, Car? She wishes she had it. All right.
And for some other e-commerce options, there are a ton to start listing product
Absolutely.
online. CBLDF, we use Shopify for our signed graphic novels and premiums that we offer for donations. And we're going to send some resources we've created to everyone on this call, including a guide on how to get started with Shopify. And they're doing a 3-month free trial right now. So
Awesome.
that's another option if you want to not go all in on Comic Hub yet, but you do want some stuff online. That's an option for you too. Jen, I want to go back to you. You mentioned your Facebook live sales, and I think a lot of people are interested in that right now, especially right now. And you were kind of one of the, the pioneers in that foray. So can you talk a little bit about how you got involved in that and working with Comic Book Shopping Network and all that?
So I started doing Facebook Live for, I don't know how long I was doing it before Comic Book Shopping Network actually got started, but I wanted to kind of like proof of concept it. Because it was kind of like the Wild West out there for using it as an actual selling stream, because mostly it was people doing it out of their garages and not actual stores doing it. So I was like, can we make this a legitimate selling stream? And it turns out you really can. For people that are interested in trying to do it, probably the best prep you can do is just watch a bunch of different shows and see what style you would like to emulate, or if you could learn from those and make your own kind of way to do it. There's a lot of different styles for selling online, and it's great because you would never be able to, for example, have someone walk into your store. You would never get them to stand at the counter as you showed them book after book that you had in your back stock. No one would just stand there for hours. But if you do Facebook Live, then people are more than happy to have that playing next to them as they're doing other things, or sometimes they're being very concentrated about shopping. But you really are doing that. You're just showing them one book, another book, and you also get to have the interaction of telling them about the book. That's the big key, is that you can say what the book is about and if you liked it, and they can ask you questions. So it's live. There's nothing really like live for selling things to people, for sure.
So you can kind of use it to almost hand sell remotely.
It's exactly that.
I'll get everyone's feedback on this, but what tips, if there's a retailer who wants to get into this market and just doesn't know where to start? So you're saying, watch some other videos? Are there any other tips you would offer them if they're looking to get started on this?
It is a little more fun to do as a group. The Comic Book Shopping Network is a bunch of really great stores and individuals doing it together, so it creates an extra draw together. So if you can find either that group or another group you want to do it with, and have a common draw that seems to work, but you can always just do it just on your store page or do it in multiple places. There's nothing to say that you can only do it one place. As a matter of fact, you probably shouldn't. You probably should be doing it everywhere that you can, especially right now when you don't have any walk-in traffic. You can really just do it from your TV room, really.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, Comic Book Shopping Network is a really large Facebook group that has a ton of different retailers and people who have been doing these comic book shop Facebook live sales for a long time. And when you're able to get in there, they have a lot of members in their group. So, you're not only, hosting your Facebook Live to your customers, you're also reaching this giant other audience in the group, which I'm sure is super helpful.
Yes, and since it's clearly a shopping group, then the people that are in the group are looking to buy things.
And Jen, real quick question from someone in the chat. Are they open to adding retailers right now?
We are pretty full, but that does not mean that we're not open. So you can talk to me, send me an email at mingforking@yahoo.com, or you can connect with me via DM on Facebook. Make sure, I'll always ask you the same question: have you practiced them? Because you never want to go live for the first time not having practice, because there's all kinds of snafus that can happen if you haven't shaken those out. You don't want that to be everyone's first impression of you.
Sure. Morgan, when you put together that great Boost Your LCS map, I'm sure you have seen how hundreds of stores have changed how they're doing things right now. Have you seen any other innovative ways that people have come up with to sell on social media aside from the Facebook Live aspect?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot you can do with social media, but I think where it comes to be creative is what you are doing in your stores individually. So I've seen a lot of stores come up with different deals and programs that they're offering specifically for their customers. Paradox Comics out in Fargo, North Dakota, they're doing a really cool buy a comics care package for yourself or a friend, and they'll put together the comics for you and they'll send them out. There's a few other shops that are doing gaming and selling via Twitch streams, which is an avenue that I don't think a lot of retailers have penetrated yet, especially with the Critical Role crowd and stuff like that. So that's a good avenue of places to go if you're wanting to, sell some games or board games and stuff like that, get involved with that community. That's what I've seen the most that has been kind of above and beyond Facebook Live and, different web shows and stuff like that.
Adam, did you have any other, ideas for retailers looking to sell on social media?
Not really. I think that Jen and their crew has really done a fantastic job of this. I know that Andy Legal at Brave New World does a really wonderful job of using Instagram. I would definitely watch his stories for exceptions. What I would say is, honestly, it's do what you're doing now, right? Talk to each other, try and understand who's doing well, and then follow them and try and understand what their best practices are and begin to emulate that. I would say that especially out of the Comic Book Shopping Network, Aaron Holland, who is doing the A Comic Shop, and I also did some stuff for Ultimate. He's done an amazing. He's just it's impossible not to watch him and get excited. These stores are all doing really wonderful business on this, and we're before this. Now I think this is going to become a crucial part of every business going forward after this, because again, we want community, we crave it. The reason that we go into your shops is because we want to be around other people, and the reason that we're on social media is that we want that continual connection, so we can continue to give them that connection even when they're not in the store.
Yeah.
Jumping off of what, sorry to interrupt,
No,
what Adam was talking about in terms of what Andy's been doing at Brave New World, he partnered with a local book truck with a library. So this is your chance to partner with community, other outreach as well, to help hand sell to customers that can come to you after this is kind of blown over, or at least start building up customers that you may not already have. I would have never thought like partnering with a book truck to put on inventory so that people could get comic books when this truck is driving around and making its deliveries. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really innovative way of doing things.
And I just want to highlight some I've seen. Books with Pictures in Portland has been doing
Yes.
this, and I saw
Mhm.
Third Eye in Maryland has started
They do a
doing
great job.
personal shopping.
Yeah.
So you're all on Zoom with us right now. I know Third Eye is using Zoom, and I think Books with Pictures is using Facebook Live to, you know, personal shop for your customers. You know, set up an appointment with your customer so you can have a one-on-one video feed, and then go around the store. So, you know, they don't have the chance to walk the racks and, you know, get add-on purchases. This is like a way where, you know, they're not just getting the books on their subs. You can kind of get them to make those add-on purchases by personal shopping for them. And it also kind of provides that, yeah, that community aspect. You're able to interact directly with them when you wouldn't normally be able to right now. And I thought that was a really smart way of doing things.
And I think
Definitely.
something to stress, something I was just talking to another retailer about recently. He was really struggling with trying to get this off the ground for himself. Something to really stress is not be too precious. The only way you're going to get good at this is to do it. And the only way you're going to be able to do it is to fail at it. As Jen said, you don't want this to be your first time, but some point is your first time.
Yeah.
So you might as well make now your first time. You're going to have to start somewhere, but please start. Your customers are waiting for you to start.
And I put some kind of some helpful things on my personal page. I think I pinned it to the top. I did a live video of behind the scenes of me selling live. So you can actually see it as a third person view. You can see what the room looks like and how I pull books and what the rack looks like and where my setup is. So you can actually see it as a third person. It'll help you a little bit because I know it's hard when you're watching it. It's just like from the camera view, it's difficult to understand what's going on behind the scenes that makes the rest of it work.
So maybe, you know, I can snag that link from you and I can shoot that out with all the other resources we're sending to people so that they can get the direct link to that video if they're trying to start up. So we kind of talked about this already, but, you know, we're talking about social media and how to sell to our customers. How can we use it just to maintain the relationships, you know, we have with our customers and maintain ourselves as a community hub when the community can't come to the store? Do you have any ideas for that?
Yeah, I do. So I think that you're the best person to hand sell a book that you were excited about. And this is a chance for you to kind of practice that a little bit more on a social front. Like, I think Acme Comics, Jermaine does this really well. He's Lord Retail. He takes the books that he loves and he writes, sorry about the loud, I live on a thoroughfare. He does this great thing where he creates a Twitter thread every week and he talks about the books that he's really excited about that he read the night before that you should come in and pick up in the shop. And when I read them, I'm like, wow, I never thought I would really want to read this X-Men book, but boy, I want to read it now. Like like the energy comes through, and you can do that with YouTube videos, Facebook Live, things like that. Like get your staff to do it too, like while they're, you know, shelter in place and stuff like that. Do really fun things. I know the Comics Place in Bellingham did like these really cute videos featuring Barry the Bear and where they talk about comics that they really like. It's super cute. Get creative, get fun, and this is your chance to go through your back stock and see like, oh, what's this book that I can't really move as quickly? Like, how do I get excited about this? What's this book that I've been trying to hand off to everybody? Like, just people seeing your face and seeing your energy is going to translate over, especially in this time because people are desperate for connection and want to have that connectivity and normalcy again. So yeah, just again, echoing Adam, just start. Just start getting excited about comics even during this time. This is the best time to get excited about comics.
Yeah.
Lots of time to read. Yeah.
And like Morgan mentioned, I think Eaton at Cape and Cowl has created like a Facebook book club. So maybe creating like a Facebook group for your store where you can like have that shop community, but on a Facebook group, or, you know, Twitch, or maybe Discord is another avenue for people that they can use to kind of keep a community chat with their customers.
And I'd like to address something really quickly.
go for it.
I occasionally, so I was a retailer for 15 years, and occasionally I hear this, and I think to myself, when am I supposed to do that? I gotta do an FOC order every week. I have to do an initial order once a month. I have to do my taxes. I have to make sure that my landlord is happy. I have to make sure that all my employees are paid. I gotta put all of this away. I still sweep the floor every night. When am I supposed to figure out if I'm going to use Facebook or Discord? Or you just gonna have to pick. You're gonna have to pick something, and you're gonna have to start, and you are gonna have to block off that time. And it is the way you're going to become professional is that you're going to choose a certain amount of time in your day or your week that you're going to engage in this. And the reason for this is it's insurance, right? It's just like paying for insurance. Right this second, everybody like Jen, who has invested the time and have been very generous with their energy in creating these connections to people in their regular lives through social media, it's paying off for her, right? It's paying off for them because they're able to continue these connections and not have to start from zero. But even if you are starting from zero, merely start, because you have to start somewhere, and you do have to pick this time, because this is not over. This is not going to be done in 6 weeks. We're going to be dealing with this this is going to change our lives. And it's entirely possible that we're looking at more than a month, more than 3 months of no new comics. I hate to say that out loud, but everybody should be used to this idea that this could be happening. Yes, I see Angel saying plan on 4 months. Not a wrong thing, not wrong thinking. What you need to be doing right now is saying, how am I going to connect? Because connecting is the key. Connecting is why people come to your shop. And right this second, they're being told not to connect. They're being told to sever connections with the people they see nearly every day in their office, at their schools. They're being told to sever the connections of people that they normally reach out and shake their hands. They're feeling disconnected. And if you can give them at least some of that normalcy, some of that person-to-person connection that they are just craving right now, just from a purely humanitarian aspect, you are doing the world a service. Aside from that, you are creating an asset. You're using this opportunity to create an asset for your company that is going to pay off dividends for as long as you're around. So there you go. Sermon over.
Well said.
Well said. Yeah. Well, we've been talking a lot about, how to sell things, during this period of time where we're having to think outside the box. Jen, for example, what kind of product do you think retailers should focus on selling right now? Like, if we don't have new comics right now, what do you think retailers should be focusing on marketing right now to their customers?
Well, I think Adam said it correctly. I think that we all have backstock of things that we really believed in and we still believe in, but it's still sitting there. And now we have a chance to get it in front of new eyeballs. And give it new life, because it's not competing with all the new noise from everything that comes out every week, however gorgeous and beautiful those things are. It's time to pull out, your AD After Death, which didn't get a good audience and should be in everyone's boxes kind of thing. So you just got to find those things to champion that you really love and still have. Every comic book has an audience. There really is someone that will love it. It has to be shown to somebody so they can say, I'll take a chance on that. That looks like a cool thing I didn't know existed before.
Yeah. Morgan, did you have anything, how is Boom marketing something specific to its audience right now?
So we're focusing all of our marketing efforts kind of on the Booster LCS initiative right now to get people to go to their stores. I personally have been messaging out, like, as it's been progressing, because it was a thing of, like, set up a pull box, set up a subscription, start doing these things for your shop, and now it's help them buy their inventory, like help sell inventory, get inventory out of the store for them, because that's the product that they have, and that's one of the things that, like, I've been kind of pushing on my personal with Comic Hub, being like, you can shop the entire inventory of a store and be able to see everything and see it updated in real time. or updated daily. So that's a thing too, is focusing on inventory, how we're going to be moving forward in terms of product for the next, however long this is going to last until new product is shipped out. We will have some, new messaging on that shortly. I mean, Philip has been having a lot of conversations with our partners. But everyone, if you need help selling older boom stuff, like hit me up. I will tell you exactly how to sell weavers.
Morgan actually wrote an article on hand selling in the CBLDF retail guide. So she's got it down.
And it's not just boom stuff. Like if you're having trouble, hit me up. I love comics. Like I will help.
And yeah,
I've seen her in action. She's amazing.
Someone in the chat mentioned, now's the time also if you have complete runs, binging since people are stuck at home, trying to market that. Kids comics. Kids are at home now, bored, they're supposed to be in school. Now might be the time to push that.
So I got something.
Yeah.
So when this began, when I got home from that trip 2 weeks ago, and I saw the writing on the wall, I began looking at how do we create programs as publishers, as vendors, as anybody who's doing business with comics retailers. How do we create programs that allow you to create revenue with risk-free, because you don't have any cash right now to be investing? And how do we allow it to be non-physical items? Now, we all know that retailers struggle with digital items, digital books, and we don't want to get into that here. But I think there are some opportunities. And some friends of mine at Comics Experience, which is an online school for comic book creators, have put together this program. And I'm announcing it here for the first time. This is a scoop, all right? So this is called the Retailer Relief Effort, or Retailer Relief Program, excuse me. And what they're doing is, beginning with the Comics Experience teachers, they're putting together courses and lessons, videos that are available for students to buy from their website about making comics, about writing, about storytelling. They teach you how to create a comic from the outline all the way to the penciling, inking, and lettering. And there are going to be these courses that are available, but they normally do these live courses that you take with a teacher and are interacting. They're creating these videos now that are going to be available for consumers to download. However, they're only available through the Retailer Relief Program. They're only available to download through a retailer's affiliate site. So a retailer like Jen, and I'm going to be sending you the programming, Jen, here in a little bit, okay? Yes. A retailer like Jen can set up her own page for this download. She can tell her customers, go here to download these things. They're between $2.99 and I think there might even be a $100 course in there. All of it is educational. All of it is, there's some video content, there's some PDF content, and 80% of the revenue goes directly to the retailer that you're ordering it through. So
you're gonna make me cry, Adam.
Oh, well, so
that's
here's
awesome.
how this works. A retailer contacts Comics Experience. Send me an email. I have a Comics Experience email address, adam@comicsexperience.com. I will send you. Well, it's not 100% beta tested yet because a lot of people I sent it to haven't, and we just ran out of time. But it's ready to go. You send it to us. You will give you an opportunity to sign up. Give us your PayPal information. We will set it up so that you can then have a link that you can send out to your customers. Your customers buy, your customers learn, your customers are engaging. Maybe you can even set up your own social engagement so you can talk about their progress, right? So they can discuss what they're learning. You can be encouraging them. And every piece that they buy, from $2.99 up to $100, 80% of that revenue goes to the retailer. I want to say big thank you to Andy Schmidt and the guys at Comics Experience for doing such hard work this week to put this together, because they really were trying to get this out so I could discuss it here. This is a global thing. So if you're a store and any other, there's no good reason why you shouldn't be able to participate internationally. But yeah, that's that is available.
Those are happy
so
tears.
rad. Oh my gosh.
That's a really cool idea. So, so
Mhm.
that's a product that you don't have to ship and worry about sanitizing.
Exactly. Hey, no sanitizing wipes needed. Yeah.
So we're closing in on an hour, and I want to give time for some questions I see down in the Q&A section. But I want to end on like a positive note. I know a lot of this is, how do we deal with the issue now? But I'm seeing a lot of innovation happening. So how do you see the industry evolving from this in a positive way? Do you see that going forward?
Oh yeah.
I see a lot more connectivity because I think as we become more connected through social media as publishers and stores and our customers, I think we're going to have faster connection for news and other information. And I just think that it's going to be good for overall positivity in our industry, really.
Morgan, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a chance for the comics community to grow in terms of readership. And what I'm about to say is probably going to be slightly negative, but we're seeing an uptick in people participating in streaming services, as well as taking advantage of things like Comixology and those digital comics. Like at a certain point, those people are going to want to go to comic shops. And I am one of those rare birds that is both loves physical and digital comics in all form, but everybody's going to be doing a lot of reading. They're going to be reading the books on their shelves. They're going to be reading the books that they can get online because they're social distancing or under quarantine or self-isolation. So being able to find that connectivity and be able to talk about those books that they've been reading, I think we're going to see a huge uptick in social engagement as a community too. So yeah, it's going to be, I think it's just going to grow.
Adam, what do you think?
I think we get to decide. I think the beauty of the direct market has always been its complexity. Jen's shop is never going to be duplicated by anybody but Jen. It's every single shop in the world is because the product is so complex and the people who run it are so complex and the communities that are so complex. Every shop is as unique as a thumbprint. And so I think we get to this opportunity to decide what we're going to be when we grow up, right? Because we're going to come out of this. Honestly, as an industry, we've expanded and contracted, 3 times since I started, and I know that there are people around who've been around even longer, who have seen that sort of huge contraction. But that out of that contraction, we're going to grow. The people I'm talking to who are running their businesses are saying, I'm seeing fat that I can cut. I'm seeing the ability for moving forward, how I can change and strengthen and grow my business. But really, at the end of the day, we're seeing what we do best is not moving paper from a plant in Canada to a comic, a collector's hands. What we do best is connection. What we do best is seeing each other and is reaching out. And I think that if we can, as a community, as an industry, embrace that ability that we do better than anybody, I think that's how we're going to grow. So.
Well said. I have someone in the chat really quickly asking again about that comics experience. How can they get information about that?
There will be a sign up webpage. It's almost done. By Monday, this is going to be, we're announcing this early next week. So all of the bugs will be worked through. However, if you want to be on the beta, or if you just really you're excited about it, send me an email, ATOM, just as it says on the screen, adam@comicsexperience.com. And I'll get you the sign up form. There's a process that you need to sign up. And if you're a creator and you're watching this, or if you're a creator and you're in Jen's, Plan C group or whatever, make sure that if you are using this time to create video content, we would love to sell it and help out all of the wonderful retailers who need our assistance right now.
Okay. All right. So I want to just quickly get through these questions on the Q&A. Ryan Skinner wants to know what retailer discussion boards you guys would recommend being on. Jen, what are you on?
Comics Pro is really good. There's Final Order Cutoff. Coliseum has its own retailer page. That's where most of the chit chat happens, other than Plan C, which is new, and that's kind of like publishers, creators, and stores all together.
And these are all on Facebook.
Correct.
Okay. Morgan, do you have any ones that are particular favorites for you? Is it FOC group?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the FOC board on Facebook as a publisher, and I think that that's a really good resource for people, especially right now, because, you know, we have representatives from CBLDF, we have representatives from Comics Pro in there posting resources and tools. Yeah, that would be where I go. Also, I would, if you need more resources for just how to help your business and aid things right now, please check out Bink. They're the Book Industry Charitable Foundation. They just, like, I think, like, it's kind of weird because, like, comic shops don't think that they're independent booksellers, but they are. So, like, they actually have a lot of aids and grants and assistance that are available right now, especially for the COVID-19 stuff. I posted it in the FOC board as well as posted it on Twitter. And if you want to, like, donate to them as well, if you're an organization here that's watching this or a creator, they have links for that as well. So that's another good resource to see as well. It's not necessarily a retailer like resource page, but it's something to consider.
And it should be noted, I've spoken to the people at Bink, and it should be noted that the Forge Fund, which was started by our friends at Lion Forge, did actually create a sub fund within Bink that is specifically focused on comic book retailers. Right now, I think that they are focusing their attentions on retailers who are in need of a single store, single owner store that are in need of help dealing with personal housing and medical expenses, but especially as people are raising funds. And our friends at the Nerd Store are actually doing just started a fundraiser for them, where you can contribute eBay auctions and other ways to raise funds for that. But that money is earmarked for comic book retailers. So please do reach out if you need that kind of help.
Someone is asking, Jen, what's your website and your store? Someone wants to check you out.
Store is Space Cadets Collection. So you can usually find us. You can just do spacecadetscollection.com. You can find us. Facebook is Space Cadets Collection. On Twitter, I go by, it's just @Commander King.
Okay. Darren, you're asking if there's going to be some type of list posted for resources for retailers. Yeah, we have some resources. We're going to email everyone who attended this panel, so you'll get that. Someone else is asking, will there ever be an option to get books other than Diamond? I think right now we can say that there are book distributors.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, Ingram. Adam, you mentioned Ingram.
Ingram, you can order from them. Scholastic, especially book suppliers, and as everybody is focused more and more on graphic novels, you can focus more on ordering from them, and you can order direct. They are still fulfilling. I don't know how long that's going to last, or how crucial their business is being designated. But again, please be safe as you are receiving that product. But yeah, it's continue to reach out, especially smaller independent publishers may be able to work with you. Anybody who is not above a certain level within Diamond likely does not have an exclusive, so can be working directly with you. Whether or not they have anybody in their warehouse, whether or not they are ethically ready to go ahead and ship out physical goods, you know, let them be okay with that. But those resources are available, and frankly, again, reaching out is going to allow you to build connections that will pay off in the long run as well, not just during this period.
Morgan, are your trades distributed through anyone else other than Diamond?
We are distributed through Simon & Schuster, which is great. I believe that they offer free shipping for a certain order minimum. And we are distributed through Ingram, Baker & Taylor, a few other book distributors as well. I'd also recommend that if you are going to be using multiple distributors, especially multiple book distributors, to make an Edelweiss account.
Yes.
They are a resource that catalogs all the books. Like we provide metadata for them as a publisher that will include like preview pages, downloads, information about the books. I make Edelweiss lists for booksellers, independent bookstores who are just building their comic book section of like top 10 boom that you should have, essential graphic novels you should have across all publishers, things like that. But one of the key features is that when you place an order, you can designate where you want to order your books from. So it puts all of the distributors in one place, and then you can place your order directly through Edelweiss, and it'll go to those distribution channels.
It's definitely something.
EDEILLEWEISS. I think I got that right.
I'm just gonna hope you're right. I'm just gonna hope it. Jen, this one's kind of for you. Who can provide access to Plan C, the Plan C group you mentioned?
Since I created the group, then I'm probably the right person to ask. So just find me on Facebook, just Jen King. It's really plain name. It's me in my Mad Max outfit, so I apologize.
I saw that. It was great.
It's really how I was hoping you were going to be dressed for the apocalypse. I'll be honest.
So I think that went through all the questions we have. Yeah. It was Edelweiss. Someone asked if we could repeat that again.
I just put it in the chat. It is EDELWEISS. I know it's hard to spell.
And I think someone that was asking how Bink was spelled, but it's BINCK. And what is that? It's
no, it's BINC.
BINC. Right. Not BINC.
BINC.
Yeah. I'll put that in chat too. All right. I think we got through all the Q&A questions we had. Is the chat recorded so we can rewatch it in case we missed any details? I don't think the chat is recorded. We'll be posting the video of this on YouTube. And it's also on our Facebook page. We are live streaming it there right now. And after it's all done, it'll be available for rewatch, but the chat won't be back on. So I would say if you have anything in there, quickly, write it down. But yeah, thanks so much. Thank you all, Adam, Morgan, Jen. Thanks for giving us your time and giving us great information for retailers.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone who spent their time with us today.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for spending an hour with us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
guys.
We're
still signing up people for Wave 2, a bad idea. Just putting that out there. Wave 2. Okay.
That's it, Adam. I got to cut you off before you push another thing on here. I got to cut you off. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.